kind of the tradition of the jersey, the branding of certain teams, and if you're going to end up selling jerseys, you really don't want to be seeing a bunch of... You're not buying it for the ads that are on there. You're buying it for the teams and for your players that you're watching. You don't really want a bunch of distracting logos and advertisements around it. Now, with all these racial social justice movements and stuff, some teams have taken it upon themselves to change potentially offensive and racial imagery, nicknames, and all that stuff from sports. We've seen it with the Washington football team, who will reportedly announce a new name for next year at some point. And now the Cleveland Indians are doing it, well, attempting to do it. I've seen spiders thrown out there, and a bunch of names thrown out there. Spiders was one. It was very common. Apparently, used to be Cleveland baseball team way back in the day. And essentially the team settled on the Cleveland Guardians. It's not, my favorite team name by any means or anything, but the imagery was pretty easy to change. The logo in terms of the letters, if you'll see the script Indians logo on there, it fits right in. You can just change the letters right out. It kind of takes on a historical meaning in terms of people who have called Cleveland home and, in a sense, watched over it and made it what it is. But here's the kicker: there apparently already is a Cleveland Guardians. I don't know how they could have missed it, especially since it's already in their city. Apparently, it is a men's roller derby team in Cleveland who has had the trademark, copyright, whatever, for the team since 2017. That's 4 years, and it's in your own city. And there are a lot of background checks and copyright and trademark and copyright infringement, trademark infringement, all that kind of research that goes into finding these team names. Like we saw with the Washington football team, they ran into a big problem. Well, not such a big problem, but it's kind of a big problem with most of their suggested team names being bought up by a guy who was incredibly interested, we'll say, in how... I can't remember if he was betting on what the next team name would be, but he's definitely had a certain interest in what the Washington football team was going to change their name to, and had registered a bunch of trademarks for it himself. Now, this is an already established team that is, again, in your own city, and you're supposed to have all these detail-oriented, super analytical field studies, research, certain... There are a ton of aspects that are supposed to go through research channels that are basically, make sure everything's okay, secure, no issues are going to come out of it, whatever. And they clearly failed at this point. From what I read, it doesn't seem like it's in a ton of danger, but I mean, it could have been worse than it actually is. But I mean, come on, man, you gotta... That's something that very, very, very simple research could have turned up, I'd imagine. And you're supposed to, as a pro sports team, you're supposed to have all these extra research capabilities in terms of, feasibility studies and trademarks and everything. And they didn't do it. So, be better, Cleveland. Just a couple quick hits to end the show with here. First off, over the weekend, Miguel Cabrera hit his 500th career home run off of the Blue Jays' Steven Matz in Toronto. As a Tigers fan, I am a little disappointed that he didn't get to hit it at home, but it's a really cool thing to see him, who's one of my absolute favorite players of all time, possibly the greatest right-handed hitter of all time. In my opinion, he is. But that's up for debate for most people. It was a great thing to see. Enjoyed hearing the call from Dan Dickerson on the radio. Matt Shepard's call wasn't too bad either, for all the flack that he's gotten as the Tigers' new TV broadcaster. So congrats to Miggy, one of my idols growing up, and I'm very happy to see that happen. In the NFL, a couple starters have been named. Teddy Bridgewater has beaten out Drew Lock for the Denver Broncos starting job. I think that's more of a bridge situation. I don't think Lock or Bridgewater is the answer. I do think Bridgewater is the better quarterback out of those two, and has shown that at worst in the league, he is possibly the best backup quarterback the league has. And when he was in Minnesota, he was pretty close to being a star before the injury. I don't think he ever gets back to that star point, but he can be a solid starter. And I think, aside from adding a big-time quarterback, the Broncos are in a pretty good position with their young talent. And Trevor Lawrence, we all knew it was going to happen, but he was officially named the Jaguars starting quarterback by Urban Meyer. And, the number one overall pick has been on the NFL radar since high school, maybe even earlier. Will make his debut in Week 1 for the Jaguars. And the Rams, with all their running back problems with the injuries to Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson, have traded for Patriots running back Sony Michel. Michel was a star running back at Georgia and was a first-round pick of the Patriots a couple years ago. Had a pretty solid rookie season in New England, but hasn't really displayed the same star power that he had at Georgia. And, could benefit from change of scenery. The Patriots also have Ramondre Stevenson, the rookie from Oklahoma. I was very impressed with him during the offseason and the draft process. So clearly they like him as well. And with the Rams, gives Matthew Stafford some of that run game. They've been able to find some reclamation projects with guys like C.J. Anderson before. So we'll see what happens with that. That's going to do it for this week. As always, you can listen on Spreaker and on the Travis on Sports YouTube channel, as well as now Apple Podcasts and Spotify. I'll try to get better about the social media channels and get better about getting episodes out to you, if not weekly, in a timely manner, and not waiting 3 weeks again. So you can look forward to a new episode soon, and be sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.